Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today we're diving deep into Jack Bogle's Enough: True Measures of Money, Business, and Life. This isn't your typical finance book. It's a philosophical exploration of values, ethics, and the pursuit of a meaningful life, all framed within the context of Bogle's long and impactful career in the investment world. Get ready for a rich discussion spanning personal anecdotes, financial wisdom, and timeless philosophical insights. Buckle up, because this one's a marathon. The book begins with a powerful anecdote, a conversation between Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller, where Heller famously proclaims, "Yes, but I have something he will never have: enough." This sets the stage for Bogle's central thesis, the pervasive societal obsession with more at the expense of contentment and ethical conduct. Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, a titan of the investment industry, argues that this insatiable desire for wealth has corrupted not only our financial system, but also our professional values and personal lives. He opens up by narrating his own life journey, which profoundly shaped his perspective. His Scottish heritage instilled in him a strong sense of thrift and responsibility. Early financial hardship forced him and his brothers to work hard for what they earned, inculcating a deep appreciation for the value of work and the importance of responsibility. His time at Blair Academy instilled discipline and academic excellence, setting the foundation for his later successes. He highlights these experiences as pivotal, emphasizing the unexpected opportunities and acres of diamonds he found along the way. This alludes to Russell Conwell's famous lecture of the same name, which Bogle draws on for a significant metaphor of his life. Bogle's arrival in Philadelphia marks a significant turning point, leading to his acceptance into Princeton University with a scholarship and various part-time jobs. This allowed him to study economics and eventually write his thesis on mutual funds, a field that would become his life's work. His thesis, in turn, landed him a job at Wellington Management Company, where he would eventually rise to leadership. This is a perfect illustration of the acres of diamonds metaphor, Bogle continuously discovering fortuitous opportunities that were right in front of him. The narrative then shifts to Bogle's experiences at Wellington, where he eventually became the firm's head. He discusses his controversial attempts to reform the investment management industry, emphasizing the challenges he faced and the eventual conflict that led to his dismissal. This pivotal moment, rather than marking a defeat, opened an unexpected window of opportunity, ultimately leading to the founding of Vanguard. The creation of Vanguard forms a major part of the narrative. Bogle emphasizes the unique mutual fund structure he designed for Vanguard, where the funds themselves own the management company. He describes the fierce battles he faced with regulatory bodies and his former colleagues at Wellington to implement his unconventional ideas, highlighting his stubbornness and determination, the stubbornness of an idealist and the soul of a street fighter. A key innovation, arguably his most significant, was the introduction of the world's first index mutual fund. Initially derided as Bogle's folly, it later proved to be a revolutionary approach to investing, delivering higher returns with lower costs compared to actively managed funds. This further exemplifies his commitment to simplicity and client-focused approaches. He contrasts the complexity and cost of the financial system with the simplicity and efficacy of his index fund strategy. A significant portion of the book is dedicated to critiquing the modern financial system. Bogle argues that the system is excessively costly, driven by speculation rather than investment, and overly complex. He uses compelling statistics to demonstrate the staggering costs that financial intermediaries extract from investors, emphasizing how these costs directly diminish investor returns. He doesn't deny the value some parts of the financial system provide, but stresses that the sheer scale of the costs now far outweigh the benefits. Bogle vividly illustrates the relentless rules of humble arithmetic, that gross returns minus costs equal net returns. He demonstrates how this simple equation underlies the entire financial system, showing how investors, in the aggregate, end up paying significantly more than the value they receive. He uses the example of the growth of the financial sector and how its earnings dramatically exceeded those of other, more productive sectors, only to collapse drastically in the 2008 crisis. This is presented as a form of poetic justice, highlighting the unsustainable nature of an industry built on extracting value from its clients. He goes into detail about the enormous compensation packages received by executives in the failing financial industry in 2008, emphasizing the asymmetry of risk and reward, the huge gains made by those on the winning side of speculative bets, without any corresponding penalty for losses. The examples given highlight the disconnect between responsibility and compensation, pointing to a system that rewards risk-taking without accountability. Bogle argues that this over-reliance on speculation, coupled with the soaring costs of the financial system, has led to a brain drain, diverting young talent from more productive sectors of the economy. He cautions young graduates considering a career in finance to consider the ethical implications of an industry that extracts rather than creates value. A major criticism centers on the excessive complexity of financial instruments, particularly derivatives. He argues that these complex products are designed primarily to benefit the financial institutions that create and sell them, rather than the investors who purchase them. The lack of transparency and the resulting risks are highlighted through examples like CDOs and SIVs, which played a significant role in the 2008 financial crisis. He contrasts this complexity with the simplicity of his index fund strategy, advocating for a return to basic investing principles. He critiques the industry's incessant innovation, arguing that much of it is driven by marketing and a short-term focus rather than a genuine effort to serve investor needs. He cites the disappointing performance of actively managed funds compared to index funds and the high failure rate of actively managed funds to illustrate the futility of trying to beat the market consistently. The book then shifts to a discussion of business ethics. Bogle argues that many professions, including accounting, law, and finance, have become overly focused on business conduct at the expense of professional conduct. He laments the erosion of traditional professional values, such as client service and ethical responsibility. He provides examples of conflicts of interest and the pursuit of profit at the expense of ethical principles. The narrative stresses the importance of maintaining trust in these professions and the dire consequences of losing it. Bogle discusses the shift from owner's capitalism to manager's capitalism, where institutional investors largely hold control of corporations. He argues that this has led to a diminished focus on long-term value creation and an increased emphasis on short-term gains. He connects this to the problem of agency, where managers act in their own self-interest rather than in the best interests of the owners. He emphasizes that this is not a new problem. This type of agency problem was already understood and critiqued by economists centuries ago. He specifically addresses the issue of excessive CEO compensation, arguing that it's often not justified by actual value creation. He criticizes the use of stock price as the primary metric for executive pay, arguing that it encourages short-term focus and manipulation. He suggests alternative metrics based on long-term value creation, such as earnings growth, cash flow, and return on capital. He also advocates for greater accountability and clawback provisions to ensure that executives are penalized for poor performance. Bogle makes a strong case for the importance of trust in business relationships. He contrasts the emphasis on counting and measurable results with the inherent value of trust. He uses anecdotes from his own career to demonstrate the positive impact of a culture built on trust. He advocates for a shift from an environment that prioritizes counting to one that values trusting, arguing that trust forms a stronger foundation for a thriving organization and a stable economy. The importance of judgment over process and of balancing trust and counting in a business are further emphasized. The latter part of the book explores the importance of personal values and the pursuit of a meaningful life beyond financial success. He challenges the idea that material possessions or fleeting fame define a successful life. He draws on personal experiences and stories, such as the film A Civil Action, to emphasize the importance of commitment, ethical principles, and service to others as measures of a life well lived. He contrasts the values of the 21st century with the values of the 18th century Enlightenment. He uses Benjamin Franklin as a prime example of the 18th century ideal, showcasing his commitment to both entrepreneurship and public service. This section is a strong defense of a return to more thoughtful and ethical practices. Bogle emphasizes the importance of commitment, highlighting boldness, perseverance, and the often unforeseen assistance that comes from pursuing a meaningful purpose. He stresses the significance of commitments to family, community, and civic duty. He argues that by prioritizing these commitments, one can find a more fulfilling life, even if it means sacrificing some material possessions. The book's concluding section addresses the concept of enough. Bogle reflects on what enough means for him personally, highlighting his modest lifestyle and his dedication to philanthropy. He emphasizes his own contentment, despite not accumulating the enormous wealth of many of his peers. He advocates for a shift in perspective, where success is measured not just by monetary gain, but also by personal values and contributions to society. Bogle discusses the importance of enough for individuals and for society as a whole. He expresses concern about growing economic inequality and calls for a greater sense of social responsibility. He urges individuals to prioritize long-term investment strategies, emphasizing the importance of saving and minimizing investment costs. The book advocates for more sustainable economic practices that balance the creation of wealth with social well-being. The book concludes by urging readers to prioritize character and virtue over the pursuit of wealth and fame. He stresses that a life well lived is measured not by material possessions, but by ethical principles, personal fulfillment, and contributions to society. He uses the metaphor of the greyhound chasing an artificial rabbit to illustrate the futility of pursuing superficial measures of success. The main takeaway from enough is that true fulfillment comes not from the relentless pursuit of more, but from finding a balance between personal well-being, ethical conduct, and meaningful contribution to society. Bogle's own life serves as a compelling example. He achieved enormous success in the business world, but prioritized values and long-term goals, resulting in a fulfilling life that benefited millions of investors. Prioritize simplicity. Choose simple, low-cost investment strategies. Avoid complex financial products you don't fully understand. Focus on the long term. Invest for the long haul, ignoring short-term market fluctuations. Don't try to time the market. Embrace stewardship. Act as a responsible steward of your resources, both financial and personal. Prioritize ethical conduct and service to others. Value. Character. Define success not solely by wealth or fame, but by your personal values, integrity, and contributions to society. Find enough. Strive for contentment, rather than the insatiable pursuit of more. Recognize and appreciate what you have. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.